What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Marif Fatemi, joining back for another edition of the Triple Threat Show. Ready? It's Thursday afternoon, ready to talk about some college basketball. College basketball has been in full-fledged conference play, has been going crazy over the last couple of days, especially today. Finally kicking off into the deeper parts of the tournament. You get the better seeds in play here. You're seeing a little bit more belt to ass, as you like to call it, but we got to get through the conference play before we get into the real conference, the March Madness, and this is where the madness is starting to begin. We've already seen some upsets. We're gonna break it all down, predict the rest of the tournament, and some teams that we're gonna expect to see come next week as we get the bracket squared away. But I couldn't do it by myself. I had to bring in the expert, the college basketball guy, my best friend Jeremy Lapidus, my co-host over here. How we doing, Jeremy? Good.
Oh, we're doing good. I'm ready to get into some college basketball. It's tournament season, I'm going to sit here, and this might be a hot take for you, May-Rob, but I'm going to say that this weekend, this one right now, is the second best weekend in all of sports. It's this one, and then the first round of March Madness. So this weekend and next weekend, the two best weekends in all of sports. Right here, back to back. I cannot wait to get into it.
I absolutely love it, Jeremy. Honestly, you could be right with that one. Let's dabble in some college basketball, huh? Well, I drink out of my
Absolutely.
Christmas mug. It's still cold over here in New England, so I don't care what anybody
We got
says. It
snow
feels
today,
like Christmas.
bro. We got snow today.
It's
It was
snowing
not
right
cold.
now
It was
outside
80
my.
degrees yesterday, and then it snowed today, and I'm not a fan of that. Uh,
It's snowing right now, man. You're telling me. I hear you. It is crazy. It is March. It is snowing. It is cold. But we have a lot of college basketball to get to, and it is heating up. If there's any heat anywhere, it is in the world of college basketball. First and foremost, Jeremy, I know you love your James Madison boys, so I'm going to do it to you. I'm going to do it to you, and you know what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do. I don't want to hear it. I'm taking my 5 seconds of joy for my squad. This team right here that showed up, showed out. There is no more undefeated teams in the world of college basketball. The UMass Minutemen take care of the University of Ohio, Miami, or University of Miami, Ohio, I should say, actually, taking down the Red Hawks. They are now 31-1, and their one loss is to, yes, the worst football program in FBS or FCS history, but the UMass Minutemen basketball team take care of business and are headed to the semifinals of the Mid-American Conference. I had to say that really quickly. I'm sorry. I just had to take my moment there for that one. But let's get back into the real side of sports. I mean, talk to me. I mean, we're already having some games going on right now. Ole Miss and Georgia are going at it. Ole Miss still leads this one with under 2:30 to play. They look like they're going to knock off Georgia. The SEC is in full play. Duke has mounted a comeback on Florida State. Houston and BYU going back and forth. Jeremy, talk to me a little bit about what's going on in the world of college basketball today and some of those best games that you've seen so far today.
Let me tell you, today may be the best day in all of college basketball. The quarterfinals for a lot of the huge conferences kick off today, right? You got Florida State and you have Duke in the ACC quarterfinals. The other two quarterfinal games that we saw Virginia take down NC State in what was a tight one until Virginia just kept swatting every single shot that NC State threw at them. Then we saw an incredible back and forth battle in the ACC between Louisville and Miami. We saw Miami take revenge from a loss that Louisville handed them just a couple of days ago, less than 1 week ago. Miami-Louisville, an incredible game in the ACC. In the Big 12, the other one in the quarterfinals right now, Houston up 3 on BYU. AJ DeBonsta with 23 points, continuing his magical run in the Big 12 tournament. He's going to break records if they're able to get past Houston here, and even if they're not, if he puts up about 8 more points, he'll break the single season record for points in the Big 12 tournament. The freshman phenom is being a phenom for sure. There's been lots of great action throughout all of college basketball today, and there's no stopping now. There are more games kicking off right now. Rutgers at UCLA, the Big 10 in the third round of their tournament. The A10 continues to see upsets, right? We haven't seen any finals. There are no finals, no tickets getting punched today. But the big upset of the day, you mentioned it, the MAC conference hands. Miami of Ohio, their first loss of the entire season. Shout out to UMass. Shout out to your boys over there. They have now made that league a two-bid league, although it opens the doors for the committee to do the stupidest thing of all time by not letting Miami of Ohio in.
It absolutely does. And honestly, you're gonna hate my answer, but I mean, with the level of play that we're seeing, especially that we're seeing at the SEC, you can even bring up the A10 right now. I told you you're gonna hate my answer. They might snub you, Miami of Ohio. The only reason I say that
No,
is because of their strength of schedule, and they might just
I
get
don't
snubbed.
care.
They might get snubbed.
Look,
It's
I respect your opinions, Mayra, but this one I don't respect. Okay, this one's unacceptable. Did you know that they are just the fourth team in college basketball history to go 31-0 and complete their perfect regular season? Did you know that Miami of Ohio, what they did, while it might not be worthy of a one seed, no other team that was undefeated in the history of college basketball has gotten less than a one seed? Do you know how bonkers ass backwards it is to say, sorry, Miami of Ohio, I know you went undefeated and all, but I'd rather put in a 15-16 loss SEC team. You know how insulting that is? That's ridiculous. I understand the 38% metric that ESPN just put out. That's a dumb number. The answer should be 100%. It would be a travesty on this sport if they did not let an undefeated team into the postseason. That would be absolutely insane.
all I'm gonna say is 303rd out of 365 teams. That was their
Hey,
strength of schedule this year.
go convince them to go convince the SEC teams to play Miami of Ohio. That's the thing. The strength of schedule is the stupidest metric of all time. It matters when you're talking about comparable resumes. It should not be the first thing that you look at. It matters when you look at a 17-loss Auburn team versus an 18-loss Texas team, right? It matters when you're comparing a 9-loss George Mason team with an 11-loss Seton Hall team, right? That's when it matters. It does not matter when you have an undefeated basketball team and a team that lost half of their games. I don't care how hard your schedule was. You played your schedule. You can only play who's in front of you, and they won literally, Mayrob, every single basketball game in the regular season. It would be a travesty to leave them off of this.
Honestly, that's a pretty convincing argument right there. I'm not gonna lie to you. They have been playing a lot of their teams close, but it doesn't matter. The win's a win, and you get out. You're the undefeated team. You go. You don't lose a single game in the regular season. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just hold conference play, especially the conference playoffs, to a higher standard. It is what I get it. I do you think would you put them at a below like a 12 and below seed at least if they make the tournament?
Yeah, I would probably put them as an 11 seed, maybe a 10 seed at best. But not a 1. We're not talking anything crazy. 10 or 11 is where I would seed them if I was making the bracket right now.
Right now,
Yeah, 10 or 11.
we'll see how it all plays out. I would probably have them closer to 14, 13 or 14, but that's just me just because of this loss. Just because of how close they've been playing a lot of their teams, a lot of their games, and coupled with losing this game against the lowest seed in their conference play. I just personally have it at a higher state. Do I agree with you? Honestly, probably yes. The only reason I say I'm probably still riding the bias of UMass actually winning a game and actually doing something good in the world of sports because it's rare. It's rare, Jeremy. You don't see a lot of this stuff outside of the world of hockey for us. Yes, we won a national title
Hats
in
off to
hockey.
UMass. Hats off to
Hats
UMass.
off to
All the
UMass.
props in the world to them.
Taking on Toledo tomorrow. We'll see how that game goes, and we'll check out that game tomorrow on tomorrow's show. But back to today's show. We're talking about the rest of the SEC. We're talking about the rest of ACC. Talking about the locks that we're expecting to see. We're seeing Houston playing a tough game against BYU. Those are two teams that I think BYU is probably closer to the bubble than people think. But you say he's a lock right. They're a lock right now, right? Jeremy?
Yeah, BYU is a team that is going to make the tournament. Right now, they're slated at about that 6 seed line. They have not been playing great down the stretch. They lost Richie Saunders to an ACL tear about halfway through the season, and as good as AJ DeBonsta is going to go at least second overall in this draft, he's not enough on his own. This is a BYU team that, as we're seeing against a Houston team that's ranked fifth in the entire nation, can play with anybody. They just need to have that moment, have that game where they're hitting their shots, and AJ DeBonsta is playing like the monster that he is. They can beat and play with just about anyone. They're a lock for the tourney.
Do you view AJ DeBonsta kind of like a John Morant-esque player when he was with Murray State, how he was carrying that Murray State team through through the entire conference tournament and into the March Madness tournament? Does that's just when I view this guy how he's been playing. I mean, look at what he's doing single-handedly pretty much, him and Robert Wright, to this Houston team. This is a Houston Cougars team that's honestly, they're in the conversation to win it all. They are almost practically every single year, and especially this year. Am I crazy for saying he reminds me so much of the way that John Morant was hyped up to be going into the March Madness tournament this time a few years ago.
You're not crazy at all, right? This is a guy that has this hype all around him. There's a reason that they're paying him whatever millions of dollars to go play at BYU, and he is carrying this team. You look at the numbers that he's put up over the last couple of games, and it's eye-opening. It's record-setting, the numbers that he's put up over the last couple of games. I mean, AJ DeBonsta averaging 25 points per game throughout this season, right? AJ DeBonsta, again, in the A10 tournament, when you look at his last couple of games against West Virginia, West Virginia yesterday, he put up 27 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Against Kansas State to open up the Big Ten tournament, 40 points. 40 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. About as close to a triple-double as you're ever going to see anybody get in college basketball. Triple-doubles just don't happen. This guy is carrying this team, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But BYU is not a title contender despite what it looks like because they just don't have the depth and the guys behind DeBonsta if he has any sort of an off night.
It's a one-man wrecking crew over there in BYU. They're going to make it due to how well their star player is and how well he's been carrying the show, but it's not going to be enough to get him through, most likely even past this game against Houston. There's still 2 minutes left, but they are down by 6 points. It's probably going to be Houston's game going into the next round. Moving on to another, I want to get to 2 other games, Jeremy. At least we mentioned them as we were going into the top of the show. Ole Miss and Georgia are going at it right now. Ole Miss, a 15 seed going into the SEC tournament, have found a way to not only beat Texas yesterday, but turn around and beat the number 7 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. 20 seconds left, they're up by 7. They're most likely going to put this down. Malik Dia with 17 points. Travis Perry putting in another 14. AJ Storr with 19 points off the bench. He's been playing phenomenal for this team. I mean, is this Ole Miss team really good enough that they can find a way? I don't think they're going to go on a run or anything because I do think the top parts of the SEC, the creme de la creme of the SEC, is what it is. Alabama is what it is. Florida is the best team in the SEC for a reason. But can Ole Miss really compete against those types of teams? Is there a real chance that they could do something tomorrow?
It's a good story. It's a good story, right? I mean, look, this kind of shows you. This goes back to my point of Miami of Ohio, right? Ole Miss wins this game, and you're gonna have these coaches complain. Hey, the Georgia coach is gonna go on. He's gonna say we should get in over Miami of Ohio. We played in the SEC and we won 22 games. We went 10-9 in the SEC. Miami of Ohio in this game, oh my God, they never ever would have even come close to sniffing 9 games. But I mean, like, is that really true? Is Georgia so much better by the metrics because their strength of schedule is so much harder? This is a good story. Ole Miss is only getting in if they win the SEC championship. And the way that bracket is set up, there are some heavy hitters coming forward. Maybe
Alabama's
they could make some
forward.
noise. Maybe they could make some noise. This is an SEC team. It's a solid team. But this is a Cinderella run I expect to end sooner rather than later.
They have Alabama waiting in the wings tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. All eyes are going to be on that one between Ole Miss and Alabama, and it's going to be a good one. We'll see how that all plays out. But and the last game I wanted to get to, it looks like it's all but over. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit closer once we got to it, but Florida, never mind. Florida State and Duke going back and forth right now. It was just a 7-point game with 2 minutes to play. Florida State continues to fight. They've made it a 1-point game with under 30 seconds to play against the number one seeded Duke team in the ACC tournament. I mean, Lee J. Jones, I'm probably butchering that, I apologize, with 28 points. Robert McCray with 25 points, continuing to play phenomenally outside of his turnovers. But in terms of his scoring ability, in terms of his rebounding, his assists, he's playing really well. Probably playing his best game of the tournament, his best game of his college career right now with Florida State against the top-rated Duke team. Do you think that this is all but over? I really want to find the. While you're breaking this down, Jeremy, I'm going to get a play-by-play going so we can really react to this as this goes down. But talk to me about a little bit about this team. About this matchup, honestly. You're muted, brother. Oh, wait, you're not muted. Never mind.
Okay. This Duke team has some injuries going on right now. There are a bunch of reasons why they wouldn't really care. They won this game. Florida State has run out of time here. They had a last-second shot. Robert McCray put it up, fell short of a three-pointer game winner with 3 seconds remaining. Duke does survive, does advance. This team is great. They're going to be the number one overall seed in this tournament, so in the NCAA tournament. So if they lose a game here, they just get more rest. They're a little bit hurt right now. They're not putting out all their starters for all of those minutes, and it's always nice to win. It's always nice to go out there. These players aren't going to go and say, actually, you know what, guys? I don't really care about this tournament. This one doesn't mean anything to me. It means something to them. They're going to go out and they're going to try. And props to Florida State for playing that game that close. I did not think it would be that close. That's about as close as anyone's played Duke all season long. And Florida State needed that. They needed that win to get into the tournament. They were a little bubbly on the wrong side of the bubble. But Duke pulls off the victory. They're just simply the better team. You're not going to see too much really flow back to this one, unfortunately. As good of a game as it was, it would have been a hell of a story if Florida was able to pull it out, though.
It's crazy because Florida State was a 16.5 point underdog going into this game, a plus 1100 favorite going into this game, and they go tooth and nail, fighting tooth and nail with Duke, leading them at half. Duke pulling away late in that second half. And then Florida State not going away. I apologize, by the way. You weren't on mute. My laptop volume was off. I could not hear you. That's why I lost you for a second. But yeah, no, it's just Duke has just been playing unbelievably. They're probably gonna get the number one seed. They deserve it with how well they've been playing all year round. And this is just another case of them playing a really tough team and fighting tooth and nail going to the end. Kind of similar to what, honestly, you bring it up to what Miami, Ohio is. We're bringing a lot of connections back to the original story with them, what we talked about at the top of the show. But other than them, Jeremy, who are your biggest locks going into this tournament? We've talked about a lot about the SEC. We've talked a little bit about the ACC. Who are your biggest locks and your teams that you're looking out for as we get closer into next week, getting into the tournament?
There are 4 teams in my mind, maybe 5, that are head and shoulders above the rest of the field right now. It's Duke, of course. We just finished talking about how great they are. They're going to have the player of the year in Cam Boozer on their squad. Michigan, who's blown out everybody that they've played. They've been a wagon all year long. Arizona, who's taken down a lot of the top teams. They've taken down Florida. They've taken down UConn. They've played tough against a lot of those tough teams in the Big 12. Florida, who Arizona has been able to take down, but down the stretch this season has played out of their minds. Oh my God, Florida's been playing so well. Their offense is like no other, and when those Gator boys are hot, those Gator boys stay hot. So keep an eye out for Florida, and UConn would be the last one of that group that I really, really think you should keep your eye on. UConn under Danny Hurley continues to win basketball games. This team is not the juggernaut that it was when they won their national title a couple of years ago, but this is still a great UConn squad. In that top five area, I would definitely say look out for those one seeds. It might be a little chalky come tournament time, but those are the five teams that I think can truly can truly cut down the nets at the end of the tournament on April 6th.
You bring up Michigan, Jeremy. I want to ask you a question because there is an arch rival in the Big Ten that is still alive in the Big Ten tournament that I am very interested to hear your thoughts on. If things go well, we have Michigan going up against Ohio State tomorrow, but we also have Illinois taking on Wisconsin, which Michigan is 29-2. One of their losses is against this Wisconsin Badgers team. Do you think Wisconsin could be squaring off against Michigan later on in this tournament as the tournament wanes into the championship rounds?
They could. Wisconsin is a team that's really weird. They're very bipolar, is the way that I would describe them. Wisconsin has those high profile wins. They've taken down Michigan. They've taken down Purdue. They've taken down Nebraska. They've taken down these top teams in the Big Ten. But then, they also have just these weird losses on their schedule, right? This is a Wisconsin team that is going to be very dangerous. You catch them on the road, you don't stand a chance against them. But if you catch them on a night where their shots just simply aren't falling, this is not a super scary team. They're going to find a way to win a lot of basketball games. And they're a dark horse threat to go deep into the NCAA tournament. There's a reason that they're ranked so high, but they struggled against Washington this year, right? You take a look at, again, the schedule that they've played. They have taken a loss to TCU. I don't necessarily think TCU is that great. They lost to Villanova, another tournament team, but again, I don't think they're that great. They lost to USC. That team's not going to make the tournament. They lost to Indiana. That team's not going to make the tournament. They're better than Ohio State. They lost to them. The big one, they lost to Oregon. Oregon's basketball team is disgustingly awful this year, and they lost to them. That was just not their night. They're still a great team. Them versus Illinois is going to be a great matchup, and we actually haven't seen it this season. We have. It went to overtime. They won on the road in overtime by 2 points. That was a really great game, so a rematch here is going to be really fun to watch. But Wisconsin's very dangerous. Very dangerous. But they also have their off nights, which is going to hurt their seeding when it comes to tournament time.
They have a tough game against Illinois tomorrow. I think Michigan's going to take care of Ohio State, but if they can go on and beat Illinois, they will face off against Michigan in the semifinal of the Big Ten tournament. We will have, if this game actually happens by Friday night or Saturday morning, we will have a fun game to talk about if these two teams square off because, like we said, this is the last team that beat Michigan, and if there's one team that could beat Michigan in this Big Ten tournament, it's probably Wisconsin. If you want to go to the other side, Jeremy, I know we don't have Nolan here to really talk about Michigan State right now, but I do want to get your thoughts on Nebraska. I haven't seen a whole lot of them this year. They're kind of really jumped out on the scene here in the basketball world, honestly. You always get one of these Midwest teams that kind of bursts onto the scene, but to be a number 2 seed in the Big Ten right now, to be labeled as a number 2 seed, being attached to like a number 3 prediction right now in the March Madness tournament. Talk to me a little bit about this Nebraska team. Are they legit, or is it all just hype with this team right now?
Oh, we love some Nebraska ball. This is history right here, May-Rob. This is crazy. Nebraska is very much the Indiana of basketball this year. Now, they're not the number 1 team in the nation, but they are still a top 12 team. They're projected a 3 seed. That's where I expect them to land at the end of this. This is a Nebraska team that, like a lot of those other Big Ten schools, can hang with anybody. They just have shooters, and they have guys that know how to win basketball games. They're like the best way I think I can describe this to you, they're like a souped-up version of Miami, Ohio. And maybe that's rude to one of those two schools, but I think they play very similar styles of basketball. Nebraska plays a little bit better defense. Their players are a little bit better because they just are in a better conference. They've played better competition, which is why they're getting that respect as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. They've got guys that can just shoot the lights out of the ball. They play a really interesting, fast-paced style. I'm a big fan of Nebraska. They feel like a Sweet 16, potentially Elite 8 level team to me.
Absolutely. I think that I'm right there with you that their ceiling is the Elite Eight. I'm not ready to push them into the Final Four conversation, but Sweet 16, Elite Eight seems like exactly where they're going to fall, and they're probably going to get hit with one of those tough teams, going to hit a bad matchup and get caught in a bad spot. It's probably what's going to end up happening. But they're still alive. We are going to gear up and continue to watch what is going to go down in this Big Ten tournament with a big day of sports tomorrow. Right now, I mean, there's not a whole lot of there is still a little bit of college basketball left to be played tonight. Loyola Chicago taking on Davidson, up on Davidson right now. They're playing really well. Rutgers and UCLA. This is a team in Rutgers that we talked a little bit off camera, Jeremy, that could possibly go on a run as they continue to head into this Big 12 tournament. Is this legit or is this all talk with this team in Rutgers? Because I honestly think they might have a little bit of a shot.
No, they got no shot. I was joking with you. My dad went to Rutgers, so I got a little bit of that fan in me. Rutgers doesn't stand a chance. They're the 14th team in the Big Ten. They're the last team that made that tournament. They're not winning anything anytime soon. As fun as it would be for them to go on a Cinderella run, they could beat UCLA, a bubbly tournament-ish team, but they're not making it past Michigan State. They're not making it past Nebraska. They're not making it past Michigan. They're not making it past any of those top teams in the Big Ten. This is just for fun. How far can the Scarlet Knights go?
How far can the Scarlet Knights go? Look, if they beat UCLA, I'm going to pose the same question for you tomorrow.
I'll tell you they'll lose in the next round.
So would Nolan most likely as well. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. Other than that, Jeremy, who is your biggest dark horse in this tournament right now that you could definitively look at, or even a handful of teams that you could definitively look at and say, that's a team that can go out there and beat a 2 seed, beat a 3 seed, possibly even go out there and beat one of the 1 seeds in Duke or Florida or one of these teams in the March Madness tournament. It is March at the end of the day. It's March. We are in probably the best month in all of sports. I honestly think it is. You say it is. Let's talk a little bit let's talk some dark horse, some madness over here, some March Madness. Who are some of those dark horse teams that you have coming out of this coming out there tonight?
You want a true Cinderella, or are we talking something along the lines of a team that isn't like a top 2 seed that could make the Final Four? What are we talking here?
I want a true Cinderella that could go out there and possibly make it to the Final Four.
Oh, Final Four is a long one. I'll tell
How
you
about
a couple
this?
teams to watch out
Give
for.
me a team.
I'll give you a couple teams to watch out for in the first.
Give me a team that can make it to the
those
Sweet 16.
11 to 16 seeds that we're looking at. From the 14 seed line, North Dakota State shoots the lights out. That's someone to watch depending on what matchup they get. They got the auto bid from the Summit League, so they are locked in to the tournament. North Dakota State could potentially catch someone by surprise. Northern Iowa back in the tournament on that 13 seed line for the first time since 2016. And if you are a March Madness historian, you'll remember the half-court shot that they won that first round game on at the buzzer. UNI back in the tournament. They've got some magic. This is a team that very much could win a game against one of the 5 seeds, although 5 seeds pretty strong this year. Always worth keeping an eye out on that 12 seed line. Any team from the Ivy League, Yale or Harvard, could give those teams a tough game. Akron, maybe the best team in the MAC. We just saw Miami, Ohio lose, so they've got their shot wide open to go and make some noise. High Point, a dangerous team. High Point is a very dangerous team, so keep an eye out for them. They don't necessarily play the greatest basketball at all times, but they've got a lot of really talented players. And at the 11 seed line, the 2 teams that I would keep an eye on, South Florida. They play fast in a hurry, and they're willing to put up about 100 points on you if you let them. And VCU is a very good team as well. I'd keep an eye out on the Rams from Richmond, Virginia.
VCU always getting it done in the A10, and the A10 has been notorious for going out there and bringing out some of those Cinderella teams because they're really good at producing talent. You have St. Joseph's, you have St. Bonaventure that went out there and just beat George Mason, who's a legit basketball school in this conference. St. Louis obviously is still there. We're going to see how it all plays out, but for now, Jeremy, honestly, I want to switch gears over to the world of the NBA. We've talked some college basketball, but I want to bring things over to the NBA because we did see a big story come out on it was Tuesday night. Sorry, excuse me. My time is completely mixed up. Tuesday night when the Boston Celtics went up against the San Antonio Spurs. Supposed to be one of the biggest games that we've seen in a long time. Two MVP candidates in Jaylen Brown versus Victor Wembanyama. Jaylen Brown has his partner in crime and Jason Tatum back on the court. Probably their biggest game back together since Jason Tatum left with an injury. And Jaylen Brown, with 3 minutes left to go in the second quarter, gets tossed out of the game. Tossed. For it's a really debatable call. Stephon Castle literally has his hand on his hip. Some people say he flopped. Some people say he got pushed out of bounds. Jaylen Brown turning right around. Apparently, the referee calling it Spurs basketball. Jaylen Brown turning right around, arguing, going right into the referee's face, saying that was a foul, that was a foul, that was a foul. Immediate technical foul. Turns to the other line ref, who wasn't even in the play, or I think he turned to the crew chief, and the other lines ref that wasn't even in the play, wasn't even part of it, tees him up, ejects him. A lot of people have a hard time dealing with this. Really quick before you go, Jeremy, I'm just gonna say really quick, was it justified? A little bit, because you can't have the way that Jaylen Brown was literally going after these referees. He had to be held back by security multiple times, by players, by his coach even, in Joe Mazzulla, having to hold him back, having to restrain him and bring him to the locker room. Was it justified? A little bit, because I do think Jaylen Brown went a little overboard, but was an ejection justified? I personally can't go that far. I think the linesman went a little too far. The referee blew his whistle a little too early and tried to play the hero. A lot of people say he played the hero. I just think he was trying to de-escalate the situation. I just think he could have exercised a little bit more patience and waited, and Joe Mazzulla could have just gotten his guy out of that situation. It was just a heat of the moment situation. Bang, bang, back-to-back technical fouls, ejected. But tonight we get the Celtics versus the Thunder. This is the real MVP battle. This is Jaylen Brown versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. No Jason Tatum with him tonight, but still, regardless, this is a big-time game between the Celtics and the Thunder. And I honestly think, I'm going to tell you right now, Jeremy, this is a higher likelihood of being the NBA Finals than what we saw a couple weeks ago between the New York Knicks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think the Celtics are probably the clear-cut favorites in the Eastern Conference right now. The Thunder are up there with them. In the Western Conference, they've been the best team in the Western Conference all year round. Is this really an NBA Finals preview that we're going to see tonight? Is this the NBA Finals that we're going to see? I know that's a little bit of a long-ended question right there, but...
Yeah, gun to my head, you had me pick a matchup. I'm taking this one. This is the matchup that I would take in the finals right now. Now, that's not to say that this is a lock. There's other teams that could come up. We've seen the Celtics lose in the East before. They lost to the Knicks last year with a very similar Knicks team. We've seen this Thunder team struggle against the Thunder, or against the Spurs all season long. So that's not to say that this is a lock, but this would be my pick right now for a finals matchup. Now, it's not going to be a true finals matchup because Jason Tatum will not be playing today. So that's something to keep an eye on. The real storyline in this game, Rob, SGA goes for history. If he scores 20 points, he passes Wilt Chamberlain for the most consecutive 20 points scored in a row in a single game. So that's at 126 right now. The record is at 126. He can break it against your Boston Celtics. How much of the game plan is geared towards stopping him today?
I think the Celtics, I would say the Celtics are fine with letting him get it done because trying to key in on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is too much of an issue. Why? Because of the guys that are around this man. When you have Cason Wallace sitting there, you have Jared McCain standing next to him, you have Jalen Williams with the way that he has been playing lights out for this Oklahoma City team. I don't mean the guy with Jaylen. I'm saying Jaylin. The guy that's been riding the bench all of last year gets called up with Jalen Williams out. No Chet Holmgren, no Isaiah Hartenstein. They bring this kid in, and he's been a 30-point machine, 25-point machine for the last 2 weeks now. Lou Dort is still a legit player. He's a good two-way basketball player. Isaiah Joe is still there. Across the board, this team is littered with offensive talent, and I think keying in on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is too much of a problem when you're looking at this Oklahoma City Thunder team. It's just it opens up the doors to way too many infinite problems. You try and key in on one problem, another one pops up. You key in on that one, the other one pops up. It's that sort of the issue with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think they need to just figure out ways to open the game offensively, open the floodgates, try and come up with a good game plan that way, and then just pray defensively. Pray SGA has a bad night. Pray somebody else has a bad night and starts making mistakes.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this one. This is going to be really fun. I don't think the Celtics win this game. I don't. Without Jason Tatum, I don't think they can do it. Now, they've been without Tatum the entire season, but the Thunder have been running through people all season long. This is going to be a really exciting one. This is my favorite game of the sports calendar today.
Do you think that Jaylen Brown is going to walk into this game with a sense of revenge, with a sense of chip on his shoulder, that he's going to go out there and try and take over this game? Because it feels like that's what was in the cards with how he was responding, how he's been acting over the last 48 hours since being ejected from that game against the Spurs.
I would say some fire. I would say most of that would probably be reserved for the rematch against the Spurs, though. That's a lot tough times how it goes. He's not the same emotions every night. He's going to come out and he's going to be like, yeah, I'm here. I'm Jaylen Brown. I'm here to take over the game. This is my team. This is my city. I'm better than you. That's the right mindset you need to have as an NBA player, but I don't think it's going to be anything incredibly extra that would change the dynamics of this game, right? There's a lot of things to like about the way that Jaylen Brown plays. His intensity is absolutely a part of it, and I expect him to bring that fire and juice as he always does.
Absolutely. Jeremy, any last lingering thoughts as we close out on another day of college basketball and the NBA really picking up right now for the rest of the night?
Shout out the Italian baseball team. You kicked our ass, but you got us into the World Baseball Classics quarterfinals. So shout out to the Pasquatch and the rest of that Italian baseball team in the World Baseball Classic. The U.S. looks to take down Canada tomorrow. I'm excited for that one.
That's going to be a really great game. And also, shout out to your boys, the Washington Wizards, heading into overtime against a really good Orlando Magic team, sending them to overtime. Trae Young continuing to play really well for this team offensively. Not really, only 15 points tonight with six assists with him, though. This Wizards team is going to be really good coming up really, really soon in the coming years. And we're going to see how it all plays out. You can check us out everywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, everywhere you get your content, your social media. You can find us at the Triple Threat Show, some variant of that, at _Triple Threat Show, at the Triple Threat Show, just at Triple Threat Show. You can find any sort of content that we produce on all the social media platforms. I've been your host, Mara Fatemi, co-hosted with Jeremy Lapidus. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.